Hello sir, good morning. This is Ria Misa, VTBTED FSM 3A. And today's video, I will be discussing about Lesson 9, which is Universal Values. But before I proceed, let me recall you on the previous discussion in which it talks about the Lesson 8, the Filipino character. The Filipino has a number of strengths. His or her strengths, when they become extreme, however, also become his or her weaknesses. His or her strength help him or her become ethical and moral, but his or her weaknesses obstruct his or her moral and ethical growth. For the Filipino to become moral and ethical person, he or she should capitalize on his or her strength. So now, let's proceed to my chosen topic, which is the Lesson 9, Universal Values. The intended learning outcome of this lesson are: identify universal values and explain why universal values are a necessity for human survival. To begin with, I'd like you to read the statement presented in the screen. A value is a universal value if it has the same on worth for all. This statement signifies that for a value to become universal, it must have the same worth for all human beings or concerned people or person. Abstraction. Despite the claims of cultural relativism, the concept on the reality of universal values persists. The question is, what is universal values? In philosophy, it is something that has the same worth or value for all or almost all the people. But for me, these are the things that we all deserve to have. So just like peace, freedom, social progress, equal rights, human dignity, love, truth, right conduct, non-violence, and these are the universal values that we all deserve as human beings or as people in this universe. Are there universal values? This question will be answered and no later after we discuss all the lesson. According to Plato, he taught that universal values is all about the values or virtues of temperance, courage, and wisdom. So, when we see temperance, it is defined as showing or preventing, stopping, restraining in eating or drinking, especially avoiding alcohol. Courage is the attitude of facing and dealing with anything recognized as dangerous, difficult, or painful instead of withdrawing from it. It is also the quality of being fearless or brave. Whereas wisdom is the ability to know, discern, or judge what is true or right. Common sense or the collection of one's knowledge. Next, according to Jesus Christ, preach the value of love from which springs patience, kindness, goodwill, forgiveness, and compassion. So, just like what Jesus Christ did for us, He preached His disciples about the goodness of God, the value for you and for others. Also, He helped and enlightened us how to live life by knowing and loving our Creator. According to Confucius, thought righteousness, human-heartedness, and filial piety. When we see righteousness, it is about goodness, the virtue of being right or good to others. Then, the human-heartedness. Of course, we all know that we, human, has heart to everyone. And lastly, the filial piety. When we see filial piety, it is our attitude of obedience, devotion, and care towards our parents, elder family members that is the basis of individual moral conduct and social harmony. Are not these universal values, that is, they remain values at all times and in all places? This means that ang kanibang mga universal values is naapabanid despite sa kadugay sa panahon ug kalagyo sa mga lugar? Yes, Plato would say, that universal values exist apart from the concrete world. This means that bisan pag naani siya sa mga kabukiran, sa mga lagyo nga mga lugar nga dili na dayo nato ma-access, but still universal values is always there. Aristotle would say that they exist embodied in the concrete individual as common or essential characteristic. As what Aristotle said, it is embodied or naana jud ni siya sa usa ka individual ang universal values. It is one of our essential character as a person. Just like love, it will embody with us no matter what happened because we cannot know or predict where we love or who we should love. That's why ang gugma sa atong isigataw, sa atong family, sa atong special someone, it is exist and embodied in ourselves. Saint Thomas agreed with them, but the universals do not exist apart from the individual. They exist as a universal features individuated, instantiated in the individuals. Meaning to say, Saint Thomas is agree with them. Pero, ni-exist ni siya sa individual because part ni siya or part of our character because universal values is instant or naanagid ni siya sa atong kaugalingon. Ma-feel ni nato siya or makahibaw jud ta. Just like dili ta gusto og gubot, kay gusto tag malinawon, gusto tag hapsay, that's embodied to ourselves as an individual. Instant na ni siya, part of our instinct as an individual that we need universal value to live peacefully and happily, to have freedom. But of course, freedom does not mean absolute because we have our own limitation. In other words, the universal are abstracted common features from individual. We cannot say that it is because that person is ikita nimo maldita or maldito siya, feeling nimo manhid siya, but deep inside, it's because he or she is human, a universal values is naa na gyud na sa iyaha. Bisan pag unsay ika-reflect or i-describe nimo sa iyahang appearance, it means nga mao na gyud na siya. Meaning, kung strikta siya or kita as a person is pagkita nila sa uban sa atua is strikta, but still we have a kind of heart to show love, affection to other people despite what they say to us. Next is universal values. It is the character of a human person exists in the mind as an idea. Meaning to say, it is part of our character. For instance, you in love to someone. So, usually, natural ra jud na nga magka-crush ka sa usa ka tawo or what we call that puppy love. Unintentionally, the purpose is that crush lang siya, gugma-gugma lang siya, kung baga duwa-duwa or lingaw-lingaw lang siya para sa imuha, kay lagi wala pa kay buot that time. Pero, that comes to our mind or excess in our mind na crush or nahigugma di ay kaniya. But, later or sooner as time goes by, na-develop di ay kaniya as a result nga mahimo na siyang gugma. Certainly, your crush is become your ultimate love. Universal values is immaterial and immutable, beyond or transcendent space and time or spatio-temporal conditions. Universal values is intangible, cannot be touched, and it is not capable to change no matter what happened. Bisan unsa pa na nga panahon, unsa na mga oras nga mulabay, universal values is dili na siya dali na mawala sa atoa. It is great in our hearts and mind, instant na jud na siya sa atoang kinabuhi or as an individual or human being. Universal values, according to Van Persen, they are termed as logical structures, underlying the world and making the world possible. When we see logical structure, it refers to the way that the information in a document is organized. It is the organization of our values throughout our mind. Just like our world that we want a peaceful life, so we should be united or kitang tanan magkasinabtanay ug magkahigugmay. Next is moral standards and values. The values of honesty and respect for human life are characteristics individuated in all people who respect, do not harm, injure, or kill human beings. Sometimes, as a human, especially our friends that have a children, he or she wanted that their children should have a respect to everyone. And also, we as an adult, we should also value and respect human life because universal values are bounded with our life. If we are matured enough, we tend to respect people, especially those elders. All standards and values implied in the Ten Commandments can be reduced to the value or role of love. So, it was given by Jesus Christ the standard values that we should follow and is applied or along with the Ten Commandments of God. Values are universalized because they can only be wished to be the values for all. Just like those people now who live in the country with no peace, especially Myanmar, they also wishing and praying that the war should end. We are lucky enough to God that here in the Philippines, dili jud gubot kaayo, not like in the other country, nga daghan og conflict ug gubot jud siya kaayo. Next, Dr. Kent M. Kate, 2003, he has empirical findings on the universal values. He came up with a list of fundamental or universal moral principles that can be found throughout the world. These are grouped into negative and positive statements as follows. Do not harm. Do not do to others what you would not like them to do to you. Meaning, ayaw buhata sa imong isig ka tawo ang dili nimo gusto buhaton sa isig ka tawo nimo. Do not lie, ayaw pamakak. Do not steal, ayaw pangawat. Do not cheat, ayaw panundog. Do not falsely accuse others. Do not commit adultery. Do not commit incest. Do not physically or verbally abuse others. Do not murder, ayaw pagpatay sa isig ka tawo. Do not destroy the natural environment upon which all life depends. And those are bounded and implied the Ten Commandments. Do good. Do to others what you would like them to do to you. Meaning, buhaton nimo sa imong isig ka tawo ang gusto nila buhaton sa imo. Be honest and fair, be generous, be faithful to your family and friends, take care of your family and friends, take care of your children when they are young, take care of your parents when they are old, take care of those who cannot take care of themselves, be kind to strangers, respect all life, protect the natural environment upon which all life depends. Indeed, ang atong kinabuhi wala nagdepende kung unsa to na words ang gihatag or commandments of God's, but He also implied that we should take care of our mother because we all know that part of us, our life will depend it, source of our food, sources, and all. To sum up, universal values are human survival. Universal are the ultimate basis for living together and learning how to live together. Without respect for human life by all, then people will just kill each other. If honesty or truth-telling is not valued by all, there will be endless lack of trust among people. In spite of cultural relativism, these are values that are universal for human survival. So, that's all my report. Thank you and God bless. By the way, I am Ria Emisa, BTVTED FSM 3A.